So the president has a party celebration at the White House yesterday, celebrating the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act. Meanwhile, inflation reduced from like 8.5 to 8.35, so really no reduction at all, and the stock market fell over 1,300 points, while the president of the United States made this statement.
What a great day. Exactly 4 weeks ago today, I signed the Inflation Reduction Act into law, a single most important legislation passed in the Congress to combat inflation, and one of the most significant laws in our nation's history, in my view.
Maybe not the best visual to have a party when you have, again, the stock market dropping 1,000 points and you have inflation marginally coming down. This is, again, like when they celebrated $5 a gallon going down to $4 a gallon or $3.80. You know, again, not looking back 2 years or a year and a half where things were $1, $1.50. You know, it's these little tiny wins, and they're accumulating all of these for a 2024 President Biden run. They're already starting that because that's the only thing they can do now is they have to have these big parties and celebrations for tiny wins that in reality, big picture, are just trying to fix the mistakes, the giant mistakes that have already happened.
We didn't have inflation until you became president. Let's be clear. At these kind of rates, this is going back to the Jimmy Carter era. So, Logan, I've got questions for Harry on the substantive here, but the picture and the imaging of this as the stock market was falling 1,300 points.
Yeah, and as we all know that really, that's why you have your James Taylors out there and all this stuff is because this had very little to do with inflation. That was part of the entire thing. Even Bernie Sanders was like, yeah, this is going to do nothing for inflation. This is really just a climate change and a green kind of positioning. It didn't really have that much to do with it.
He is as inept a president as Jimmy Carter was. The perfect metaphor for yesterday's stock market crash, in my opinion, Jay, is the fact that President Biden, who has consistently poured gasoline on inflation, is flying to Detroit today to drive an $80,000 electric vehicle as part of the so-called transition to green energy. Guess what? Huge swaths of the American people earn less than $60,000 per year, so they can't afford an $80,000 car. Egg prices are up 39%. Electricity prices are up 16%. Health insurance is up 24.3%. All of those products and services are services that are characterized by what is called inelastic demand. What does that mean? That means people cannot do without them.
You have to have food. You have to have energy.
And you have to have health care.
Right. We didn't see this in the previous 4 years, and now all of a sudden we're in inflation numbers that are back to the Jimmy Carter era.
Well, first and foremost, President Biden has taken a difficult decision with respect to energy. Essentially, he has enacted policies that drive up energy costs. Keep in mind, he shut down ANWR. He shut down the Keystone Pipeline. And he basically avoided oil and gas leases. Meanwhile, Europe became more and more dependent under the Biden administration on Russia. And so they are now demanding more and more U.S. energy.
Gasoline at over $5 a gallon in a large part of the country. They're seeing a stock market that has basically tanked since the president came into office. They're seeing their grocery bills up 20 and 30%. They've seen the mortgage interest rates double in a year. So that's what they're actually seeing. So, to me, they could politicize this all they want, and they're trying to change this was a change the messaging moment is what they were trying to do yesterday. But the reality is none of it changes what the American people are dealing with.